Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Nick Month 2. This time it's personal, and we are looking at Rufus 2. Yeah, this was originally supposed to be the Henry Danger and Thunder special, but I figured since I threw my schedule out the window, I can just go ahead and do the Rufus 2. It's only 45 minutes, so yeah, and this takes place, it's 1 year later, which again, given how dogs work, Rufus should be 21 by now, but also I didn't think about the cat. The cat should not technically be a teenager either. So I don't know how the age thing works, but yeah. Well, now it's a year later, and Rufus he's able to transform into a human, but if he gets too excited, then he transforms back into a dog, and I have an issue with that. We'll get to it. But not only that, the squirrel guy is still out to get that amulet. Uh, and now there's a cat in play. A mysterious girl named Cat has shown up, played by Jade Pettyjohn, who was also on Henry Danger. She was Chloe until they got rid of her. Then they brought her back, and they got rid of her again. And she was on that. I think she was Summer on the School of Rock show. So she was basically playing Miranda Cosgrove's role from the movie on the show, the School of Rock show. So, yeah, brunette to blonde, and yeah, so so we start with a blog of what has happened over the past year, I guess. Rufus's amulet works, but only sparingly. When he gets too excited, he turns back into a dog, and I forgot about that. So when I started watching, I heard that, I'm like, oh, there's an excuse for shenanigans. Apparently, somebody thought, as I did, that perhaps there wasn't a lot of plot in the last one. They had more plot to this. There was more plot in this one. A whole 3 minutes more longer this movie is, but you added more plot to it. There's more going down in the last one, which wasn't that much, but they do use that for shenanigans, which, if he gets angry or excited or nervous, then he'll turn back into the dog, which automatically made me go, oh, I remember now, this is stupid. I also remember something that they tried to do. They did fool us my son and I, when we first watched it, but watching it again, I remembered it was because they have the squirrel guy and his sidekick, Scott. I'm not amused. They're making acorn butter, and apparently once he gets the amulet, he'll be able to make it better, but he's also going to turn to a human, so there's that. But he says that his new what's the word? I can't think of the word. His new agent, I guess we'll say, will help take it down. And immediately cuts to Cat walking through the hallway. And you think, oh, he's sending a cat taking on a dog. Okay, but spoiler alert, it's revealed that Cat is not the secret spy agent that they sent, but she's actually also on the side of good. Her backstory is very confusing. We'll get to it, but turns out the dog catcher we see throughout the movie is the special agent that he was sending. So, yeah. So, Cat shows up, immediately finds Rufus, knows Rufus. So, they also show that the parents know that Rufus the friend and Rufus the dog are one and the same. I do like the mom's response of being like, and they're pouring coffee everywhere. I like that. But that doesn't really add to anything. The parents are less a part of this movie than the first one, for sure. I also want to point out that Manny and Paige are now dating. They're boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're doing this blog. She still wants to get the secret out there, which I would be very concerned, because I'm just like, I don't understand that at all. But I don't know. I thought maybe they go into, oh, people are saying it's fake when he turns human or something, like, oh, good special effects or something, like from Paranormal Activity 4, where it was like, well, you kids, I don't understand how you do it. I didn't have any of this back in my day, but it's real, but you thought it was special effects, you know. No yawn. So, yeah. So Rufus and Kat go on a double date with the other two, and it doesn't go well. Because Rufus dogs out when she goes to take a phone call, which, well then, she invites him to a one-on-one date. It doesn't go well because Rufus gets kidnapped, or the cat. Yeah, Rufus gets taken, and then they confront Kat. Oh no, they confront Kat first, and they try to convince Rufus that she's the cat. They don't doing it. They figure out that she is a real cat, and so he tries to convince, but like they capture her and to try to prove it, but they don't put the amulet on her to turn her back into it. They just say that she is, and then he gets mad and storms off. But like they show the amulet, and so you just, oh no, you're faking it because you're jealous. It's like the conflict in the last one, but this one makes a little bit more sense, I guess. So did the last one. I don't know anymore. Anyway, so after she turns back, she explains what is really going on. Apparently, many, many moons and centuries ago, the dragons roamed the land, and before they left this planet, they gave the amulets to the cats, apparently. And so the cats are in charge of the amulets. One got away, and that's the one that he has, and they're trying to get it back. That's what it is. So she's one of the good guys, and that's when it turns out that the dog catcher is the bad guy, and he brings it to the squirrel dude, and who's like, hey, I want more money. He's okay, but then they kind of just torture the guy anyway. And then I really don't like this last part. I really just got annoyed. Because earlier they showed that the squirrel guy has a voice modulator thing, make him so no don't fit her like. Well, now here he turns human, but for comedy reasons, they make it where he still has his squeaky voice. Then he uses the modulator and goes back and forth between that. I'm like, no, that's stupid. Just give him a regular voice. Why? He's even like, why do I have a squeaky voice? Yeah, why do you have a squeaky voice? It makes no sense. It makes no sense other than, haha, it's funny, look at this. Grown man has squeaky voice, ha. But kids aren't that dumb. And I've said this with a lot of current kids programming. They seem to pander down because when I was a kid, programming had a lot of edge to it. But nowadays, people who are in charge of kids programming thinks the kids need to be coddled and need to be just like, coddled and, treated like the babies. So we got to put a bunch of stupid stuff in kids programming. There's a lot of stupid stuff in the kids programming, not just now, but when my son was little. He's 14 tomorrow, which still blows my mind. But there was a lot of stupid stuff. It's just like, why do they think the kids nowadays only need to be coddled and only have little gooey baby stuff for kids? Why is it? Don't you dare show them a horror movie. Ooh. I keep the Gen X and millennials like myself and others above me were raised right. Because it's like, we didn't have gooey baby stuff. We didn't. We had parents who somewhat cared. Some didn't. Some did. Some were like, oh, you can watch, well, yeah, that's fine, just certain things. I don't let my son watch everything. I'm looking at it from the way I was raised, where it's like, and a little more to my personal preference. I'll show him a horror movie as long as there's no nudity in it. That's fine. There's no nudity. That's the only problem I have is nudity. He's not gonna have a problem with gore because he lives on a farm butchering chickens and shit. Stuff in movies is not gonna offend him at all. Swearing, if you met his mother, you know that wouldn't bother him either. You met my mother, you know it wouldn't bother him. It's always funny when we go over to a friend's place and they say, damn, oh, I'm sorry. All we heard was the home. Really? Yeah. But like this is the stupid shit I'm talking about, where we have to have Rufus going in and out between animals, or we have to have he's a human now, but he's got a squeaky voice. Haha, it's not funny. It's just it's eye rolling, because it's just like, this is what we have for comedy in the modern day, because the comedy we grew up with wouldn't be. I'm not saying to go edgy with it, but there's some comedy. It's a stark difference when you go this, and then you look at something like, say, Salute Your Shorts, and you have Budnick calling someone a butt sniffer. You never hear one say butt sniffer, although they do talk about not sniffing butts in this movie, but you don't hear them say stuff like butt sniffer or something like that, because you have to coddle them. But I don't know. I just don't like the squeaky voice. It kind of goes the way you think it's going to go. They show up, they save him, but then, for some reason, after they defeat the squirrel, turn back into a squirrel, Scott then holds Cat hostage. He's going to put her in a thing of acorn butter. But they save the day, and Rufus saves the day, and gives her back her amulet, and then another cat shows up, and it's Cat's mom, who then takes Rufus's amulet, but Cat stands up to her and is like, no, he deserves to have it. Because that's what it's all about. It's about taking it. So she, yeah. And they do set up a sequel that never happened. I was all for it. I would like to see where it went, because they show that the squirrel is still around and he's not done yet, but we never got a third one. So, my guess, because this came out in 2017, I'm not sure when they were planning it. Jason Norman was involved in other movies, so they were maybe they were pushing it back. But then also, COVID. So everything, like, something that when stuff started in 2019, they had the All That reboot and stuff like that. A lot of stuff just kind of got put on the back burner, and I think by the time that COVID was done, Jason Norman was wrapping up Henry Danger, and they were like, well, I guess we won't do it. And the other actors would have probably been too old, too, so, yeah. But it's fine. I don't think I give a rating for the last one, because I'm used to doing TV episodes. So for both of these, I'll give them both middle of the roads. This one's a little bit higher, I think. But, because there's really not much more plot in that one. There's more plot with this one, but they're both middle of the roads, I think. So, what are your thoughts on Rufus 2? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.